Yes, good afternoon. We're reading chapter 37 of Genesis. Last we left off was chapter 36, where we were talking about Esau's descendants, which is, I think, very important. Esau is Edom, so keep that in mind. Not sure if that's going to really be brought up here in this chapter 37 that we're reading today, but let's see. Let's see what's in chapter 37. I'm just going to start reading from the King James Version right now. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told his brethren, and they hated him yet more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my leaf. And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it to his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. Maybe it's obeisance. I'll have to look up that word, so excuse me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brother indeed come to bow themselves to thee, to the earth? And his brothers envied him. But his father observed the saying. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send thee unto them. And he said to them, Here I am. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where thy feed thy flocks? And the man said, They are departed hence. For I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said unto one another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, some evil beast have devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands. Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, and deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph came unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him, and they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and lifted up their eyes, and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said to his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. Then passed by the Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned to the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes, and he returned unto his brethren, and said, The child is not. And I, whither shall I go? The child is not. And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood, and they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat, and evil beasts have devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent to pieces, and Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth on his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard. I'm going to move right into reading the Message version. Meanwhile, and this is the Message in chapter 37 of Genesis. Meanwhile, Jacob had settled down where his father had lived in the land of Canaan. This is the story of Jacob. The story continues with Joseph, 17 years old at the time, helping his brothers and herding the flocks. These were his half-brothers, actually, the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah, and Joseph brought his father bad reports on them. Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons because he was the child of his old age, and he made him a elaborately embroidered coat. When his brothers realized that his fathers loved him more than them, they grew to hate him. They wouldn't even speak to him. Joseph had a dream. When he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said, "Listen to this dream I had. We were all out in the field gathering bundles of wheat, and all of a sudden, my bundle stood straight up, and your bundles curled around it and bowed down to mine." His brother said, "So, you're going to rule to us? You're going to boss us around?" And they hated him more ever because of his dreams and the way he talked. He had another dream and told this one also to his brothers. "I dreamed another dream. The sun and moon and 11 stars bowed down to me." When he told it to his father, his brothers, his father reprimanded him. "What's with all this dreaming? And I, and your mother, and your brothers all supposed to bow down to you?" Now his brothers were really jealous, but his father brooded over the whole business. His brothers had gone off to Shechem, where they pastured their father's flocks. Israel said to Joseph, "Your brothers are with the flocks in Shechem. Come, I want to send you to them." Joseph said, "I'm ready." And he said, "Go and see how your brothers and the flocks are doing, and bring me back a report." He sent him off from the valley of Hebron to Shechem. And a man met him as he was wandering through the fields and asked him, "What are you looking for?" "I'm trying to find my brothers. Do you have any idea where they're grazing their flocks?" The man said, "They've left here, but I overheard them say, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" So Joseph took off, tracked his brothers down, and found them in Dothan. They spotted him off in the distance. By the time he got to them, they had cooked up a plot to kill him. His brothers were saying, "Here comes that dreamer. Let's kill him and throw him into one of these old cisterns. We can say that a vicious animal ate him up. We'll see what his dreams amount to." Reuben heard his brothers talking and intervened to save him. "We're not going to kill him. No murder. Go ahead and throw him in this cistern out here in the wild, but don't hurt him." Reuben planned to go back later and get him out and take him back to his father. When Joseph reached his brothers, they ripped off that fancy coat he was wearing, grabbed him, and threw him into a cistern. The cistern was dry. There wasn't any water in it. Then they sat down to eat their supper. Looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites on their way from Gilead, their camels loaded with spices, ointments, and perfumes to sell in Egypt. Judah said, "Brothers, what are we going to get out of killing our brother and concealing the evidence? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites, but let's not kill him. He is, after all, our brother, our own flesh and blood." His brothers agreed, and by the time the Midianite traveled, his brothers put Joseph out of the cistern and sold him for 20 pieces of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took Joseph with them down to Egypt. Later Reuben came back, and when the cistern went to the cistern, no Joseph. He ripped his clothes in despair. Despite himself, he went to his brothers. "The boy is gone. What am I going to do?" They took Joseph's coat, butchered a goat, and dipped the coat in the blood. They took the fancy coat back to their father and said, "We found this. Look it over. Do you think it's your son's coat?" He recognized it at once. "My son's coat. A wild animal has eaten him." Joseph torn limb from limb. Jacob tore his clothes in grief, dressed in rough burlap, and mourned his son for a long, long time. His sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused their comfort. "I'll go to the grave mourning my son." Oh, how his father wept for him. In Egypt, the Midianites sold Joseph to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, manager of his household affairs. So that's the end of chapter 37. I did a lot of stuttering for some reason. I'm sorry. Please give me some grace there. This is just natural Bible reading happening here. So the message is still there. I think this is an interesting chapter. I guess I'm going to start it off by saying this. As you guys know, I don't really like sexual immorality. I think that stuff is gross. For so many reasons, and there's a reason why God doesn't like it either. I mean, for one, Jacob, aka Israel, has way too many women, okay? He's got so many women that he's having all these kids by these women. He's got his maids, he's got his concubines, he's got his 2 wives, or one of them has passed away in birth. The one he really loved, apparently. And because he's got all these children by all these different women, yeah, they're brothers and sisters, but they're half brothers and sisters, which in itself creates this weird dynamic, sometimes a divide. You're going to see a lot more of that happening in this book, of some of these men, unfortunately, choosing to have children by a bunch of different women, and then, they end up killing each other, selling each other, raping each other, because they're not coming from the same parents. There's just so much wrong with having that kind of situation upon you on purpose. If you're doing it by accident and before you met God, that's a whole different thing. But this is a person that's walking with God, that's blessed by God, and he's just cursing himself, unfortunately, to the point that he's like weeping at the end, thinking that his son is dead. And in reality, if you just had one wife and had your kids with that one wife, none of this stuff would even be happening. Also, it plays into the fact that he's playing favorites, Joseph being his favorite son because it says of his old age, but really we know that it's because it's the firstborn child from, I'm trying to remember if it's Rachel or Rebecca. I think it's Rachel. I don't want to say I get them mixed up sometimes. I'm sorry, I'm just going back just to be sure that I'm actually saying the right thing here. I think it's Rachel. Yes, Rachel. Sorry, I just don't want to mix her up with her mom. Well, not her mom, but her mother-in-law. Anyway, I mean, that's why the child Joseph is his favorite, because it's from the one that he loved the most, whatever that means. Because I'm sorry, for me, if a man or a woman really loves someone, they're not going to be having multiple partners. I don't care what culture you're in. If you really love someone, you're not going to be soul tying and stuff with other people. But I digress. I'm going to move on from that. That kind of is what stirred all this in the brothers. It's not even who Joseph was particularly. It's the fact that he was favored by his father. And it puts notes in here in the very beginning in verse 2 that these were his half brothers, actually. Let's go to verse 2 in King James just to be sure and see what it says. These are the generations of Jacob. This is verse 2, King James. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. So, I mean, Joseph is kind of being an annoying brother. But it's really because, and it says that these are the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah. These aren't even actual marriage wives. These are just women maids in a way, and concubines. I mean, I'm sorry, but Jacob, aka Israel, brought this on himself. I mean, first of all, get one wife. I don't understand what the problem is. Second of all, now you've got these kids by this other wives, and I don't understand. And now you're playing favorites with your kids, and then all of a sudden I don't know what's going on, but you've got these children from different women, and you're playing favorites in front of them, making special coats. I mean, of course that's gonna make the other kids upset and make them feel less than. and make them want to get rid of that one that you favor so badly out of really no true reason that's deserving. I mean, these children aren't asking to be here. You got with these women and brought them here. So I don't know. I'm not, as I said, I'm not a fan of sexual immorality and just people being really fluid with that stuff. It just brings trouble. It just brings so much trouble upon a person. It's so gross. Moving on. So they hate Joseph. This is the meat of this chapter. They hate him because of these reasons. But Joseph is blessed, apparently. You know, he's getting these mysterious dreams that he's going to be the leader. His brothers and everybody's going to be bowing down to him, you know. The symbolism of the dream, you know, the 11 brothers, the 11 stars, or whatever you want to call them. You know, they're bowing down to him. And of course, his brothers don't want to hear that. They're already dealing with the fact that he's the favorite kid with the special coat that doesn't have to do a lot of work. You know, like all of this stuff. They don't want to hear that, and I totally understand. I get it. Their hatred is real, though. I don't think that's the right way to handle things, is because you don't like what's going on with another person, or you don't like the favoritism of another person, or maybe you just don't like the person for whatever petty reason, you know, that you don't want to like them. To show hate, like blind hatred at the level that these brothers did, is sickening. It's just, I'm sorry. These are adults. You should have learned at some point how to manage your anger where you're not hating somebody so much that you want to cause them misery. Because I'm sorry, that's insane. Or you want to cause them harm. That's insane. Something's wrong with you. It doesn't even matter that your dad is playing favorites or whatever. In real life, there's people who actually do this. They don't like people, and then they try to make the person's life miserable, or just not even have respect for the person, or be some sort of abusive, nasty way toward a person. And they're like grown people. I've seen people gray hairs, old, doing these things. And it's just, what happened that you didn't grow and learn that lesson of maturity and learn how to handle things like that in a better way? I mean, what does it even do for a person to try to cause another person harm because you do not like them? And what is wrong with you that you hold that much hatred in your heart that you want to try to hurt or cause somebody harm because you are hating? Literally, you are full of hate. I've seen people hate people over the silliest things, like a text message, or I just don't like that person, you know, like whatever reason they can come up with, because, you know, maybe something in their own souls or their own demons, you know, are stirred. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the person that they're even hating. You know, the person isn't even doing anything to them. I don't know. But I just find this, it's very much like a real life scenario. People just hating, having so much blind hatred that they're out there trying to do dirty, nasty things to others. Even people they don't know, you know, I don't know. Like, this is so realistic and it's weird. I don't know. So, really interesting that they decide to take this brother of theirs. I mean, unfortunately, I don't know why Israel, and this chapter's a mess. I don't know why Israel, aka Jacob, is like, I'm going to send you to find your brothers. I mean, he already knows. He's seen it. So I don't know what his problem is. He already knows the brothers don't like him. So why are you sending him to... It just, so much just doesn't make sense in this chapter. It's so silly the way that everyone's handling things. It's like Joseph, you know, it's kind of a pawn or something in this, you know, or something, you know. Unfortunately, he probably should have kept his mouth closed also about his dreams. But he's 17, you know, he's a kid, so... And this is how he's being raised. He's being raised as a favorite. This is what he knows. So, I don't know. I'm not going to really blame him too much. I'm more or less looking at the father for, unfortunately, being too sexually fluid, creating a bunch of kids by a bunch of different women. That creates this divide upon the siblings. And also playing favorites based on stuff like that. Making the other sons feel less than. That's kind of feeding into their jealousy. And then we've got the brothers who are just blindly hated. Like, don't hate Joseph. Look at your dad. Your dad's the one being a jerk. So, I don't know. And don't even hate your dad, man. There's just so many different ways that you can deal with people that you find unpleasant, you know? And you can do it in a respectful way. You know, there's a way to do that. If you're an adult, you should be able to figure out a way to do that. If you're an adult and you can't figure that out and you're dealing with it as a kindergartner or children do, it's time to reevaluate yourself, or at least you should. Anyway, this chapter's messy. They literally want to kill him when he goes to find them in Dothan, it says. And so it's just a lot going on here. That's just really is just people being guided by their emotions and their insecurities. It's just a lot of going on that's just wrong, handled wrong, completely wrong. And it's really interesting. They find a pit. They throw him in the pit. They're planning to kill him. Reuben is actually convicted, the one that slept with one of their moms, Bilhah, or whatever's going on. It's another thing, you know? Man, Israel, Jacob, like, why you got all these women? This is gross. You got one of the sons sleeping with one of the quote-unquote wives or baby moms or whatever you want. It's a mess. It's gross. And so, you know, he's trying to make right. He's not a completely bad guy. Reuben's got actually some conviction here. And Reuben is a half brother, mind you. He's not even like full brother of Joseph. Keep that in mind as well. He's not full brother either. He's probably also annoyed by Joseph, but he's not annoyed to the point of hatred of wanting to kill him or cause him harm. He's actually trying to save him, which I think there's something really redeemable about that. He may have slept with his stepmom or whatever's going on there, which is gross. But he didn't have a father showing him a good example of what that stuff is supposed to be like anyway, so I don't blame him for that. Unfortunately, Israel Jacob is he's gross when it comes to that stuff, and he's not a good example for his kids. So Reuben's trying to preserve him. He's like, I'll come back. We're not going to kill him. We'll throw him in the ditch. And then secretly he's like, I'll come back and get him out and give him back to my dad where he'll be safe. But I guess before he could do that, the other sons, you know, the half-brothers are over there conspiring, you know, we'll sell him instead, you know, because they see Ishmaelites, which is really interesting. Ishmaelites, that's like low-key their cousins, you know. And so they're like, and the Ishmaelites are coming back from, I think it said Gilead. And they've got all these riches and things, you know, like they've got some good stuff strapped to their camels or whatever, you know, they're traveling. And so I guess they just exchange him for some of that stuff that the Ishmaelites that they have, which is really weird because it even says in here, where is it? It says chapter 37 of Genesis, verse 27, verse 27. Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh, and his brethren were content. Like, just everything about this is gross. Like, yeah, they're quote unquote having mercy on him. He's our brother after all, but it's like you're selling him. He's only 17. He didn't even do anything. Like, yeah, quote unquote, he's the favorite child, but he didn't choose that. Like, what the? So you're selling your brother in exchange for whatever these guys have on their camels. It says they have balm and myrrh and spices. So they sold their brother for that. And wait, it says specifically that they sold their brother for 20 pieces of silver. If it serves me correct, Jesus was sold out for 30. I don't know what's going on. There's probably some kind of connection there. But it's like, geez, y'all selling people for like this quote unquote kind of chump change or something. I don't know. Really, it is chump change if you really think about it. It doesn't even matter if it was like thousands of dollars in that time. It's still chump change because this is your flesh and blood, or, you know, even worse off, the 30 pieces. That's the savior of the world. That's God. You're selling God for 30 pieces of silver. Just stuff like this is gross. They hated him that much, you know, that they're just selling him for this coinage. Reuben comes back, finds out that he's sold. He's going crazy. And then they're over there conspiring to lie to the father. It's just a lot of non-love going on. They don't even care about their dad, really, to do this. So they're faking his death. You know, they're going through all this effort to, like, lie and cover up things. It's so gross. It's so much easier to just tell the truth and live an honest life than it is to like have to always work and hide and lie and cover up your tracks. And in reality, God sees everything and he's recording it and you're going to be judged for it if you don't right your wrongs. So in reality, even if you are going through all of this trouble, thinking that you're hiding it, all the lies and all the dirt and all the evil, all that stuff comes to the light. It never stays in the dark, even within your lifetime. It will come to the light and you'll have to be accountable. You'll be held accountable one way or another. And then also you'll have to deal with God's judgment. It's just a whole lot going on here. That's just a bunch of ridiculousness that could have all been avoided. So now Jacob's sold by the Ishmaelites to Potiphar in Egypt, who is an officer of Pharaoh's. So he's sold to some substantial guy that holds an interesting position, in Egypt. He's working directly, in line with Pharaoh somehow, so he's a prosperous man, known man in the land of Egypt. But he's only 17. And this is crazy. Jacob, aka Israel, is ripping his clothes and wearing sackcloth and mourning, and I'll never be okay. I'll mourn him to my death. This all could have been avoided, Jacob, Israel. This all could have been avoided if you just had one wife. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? Like, I'm sorry. Sexual immorality is like one of the worst sins that you could ever commit. God really hates that one. He says it's a sin against your own self, inside your own self. Like, if you're not married and your sexual activity is not within a marriage, and I'm talking about a real marriage, I'm talking about a man and a woman getting married for the first time, both of them for the first time, not a second or third marriage. I'm talking about the original marriage between a man and a woman, and it's both of their first marriage. That's the kind I'm talking about. It says that in this book. These are not my words. It says that in this book. If you're not doing that and you're sleeping around in some other form or fashion, it's sexual immorality. And there's curses that come with that. There's so many curses that come with that. And it's not just soul ties, and it's not just STDs and things like that. I've never had STDs and stuff, probably because I don't participate in that type of lifestyle. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. This guy has his quote unquote many wives, and we already went through that here. He did this to himself by just not choosing one, and he got tricked. I'll admit that much, but really that he got tricked because he tricked. It's it's just like how I was saying. You can't do stuff in the dark and it's not going to come back and get you in the light. It has to. That's the way life works. Doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. It still happens to people who do not believe in God too. It's just literally the law of how life works. It's the law of God's design, whether you recognize his law or not. It's going to happen to you. So, I don't know. I just stay out of that stuff. But even before I really understood the ramifications of stuff like this, I was never interested in it. I thank God for that, because it just saved me a whole lot of trouble. And the little tiny bit that I did participate in my past, it came back to get me. So, I learned quickly. I'm sorry. I just don't want to participate in anything like that ever with my body. Today's Bible verse is really interesting as well. On that Bible app, the YouVersion, I kind of want to read it. It's from 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. It says, "Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?" It's so true. You can mourn the Holy Spirit. You can cause the Holy Spirit to come out of you and some other spirit come in because you're living of the world. God wants you to take good care of your body, okay? And, it's the things you eat. It's the things you drink. It's the way you treat your body. It's your health, the physical health of your body. It's also the way that you are with it sexually. Things like that is important about how you treat your body. Mentally, there's just so many things that go, even just the things that you're putting out into the world with the use of your body, the words that you're saying, and if you're putting out good, positive things as opposed to negative things, it's like this chapter here where the brothers have so much hatred they want to cause somebody harm that didn't do anything to them. That's really crazy. They were like hating him for years, trying to affect him negatively because the father favored him. What the heck? That's not a reason to hurt someone or abuse someone or try to abuse someone or sell someone or try to kill someone. Those are not reasons to try to harm someone. You can not like a person and be professional. That's insane. If you're an adult and you don't know how to do that. That's some of the most immature stuff I've ever seen. You wanting to cause somebody harm because you do not like them. For you to have so much hate towards somebody you don't even know. That's insane. I've seen people do this. I've even endured that. I've had people that I don't even know. Like, I've even had grown men, like 3 times my weight and everything, show so much hate. And I don't even know them, It's like, what are you really hating? What's wrong with you? Grow up. Now, I spiritually understand what that is now. Probably more than they do. But it still doesn't really make any sense. It's not right. It's weird. And immature, and it's gross. It's gross. So, I don't really know what else to say about this chapter. I think I've said enough. This was bad. This was really, really crappy. They even mocked him. Like, let's see what happens to his dreams. Like, as if they're going to stop God's plan. That junk is crazy. God gave him some dreams, And probably Joseph being too young. He probably shouldn't have said anything, but he's young, so, this was meant to happen. He was meant to share it. I won't fault Joseph really for any of this. His father's the one that spoiled him and made him, the favorite and all this weird stuff. He's just a kid. God's still blessing him, watching over him. God's giving him special dreams, a prophecy, and the brothers hate him even more, for that. And it's like them intervening and quote-unquote attempted murder / selling him. They mock him and go, let's see what's of his dreams now, behind his back. Ew. That's the grossest thing ever, to talk about people behind their back. Ew. Sick. Especially adults. Children can get away with it because they are little and they are learning. But adults doing that stuff, ew. Gross. And they're doing that to him. And my Lord, he has a prophecy, obviously, that was given to him at least twice, it says here in this chapter. And they're mocking that dream. Like, let's see what's going to come of his dream. And, they think that somehow selling him or whatever they just did to him, the harm that they just caused this person's life, they think that that's going to detour God's plan. Spoiler alert. Okay, I'm not going to tell you guys who haven't read this chapter yet, but I'm going to let you know that it doesn't. Okay? It doesn't at all. God it's like that verse. I got to find it too because I don't like misquoting things. Let's see. I'm going to try not to take forever on this. Sorry. Oh, well, it's in Genesis 50, but there's another one. We're going to read Romans chapter 8, verse 28, which says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called by the according to his purpose." There's another one as well, but that's good enough. He works for the good of those who love him, and Joseph is definitely somebody who loves God. So even though these brothers are doing this crappy thing, to destroy somebody's life that didn't do anything to them, like he didn't do anything. So this is weird. They're trying to destroy his life. They're mocking the dreams that God gave him. And God is about to use all of this that they just tried to do and work to hide. Because they went through a lot of effort to do this evil stuff. They did so much. God is going to he's going to use it for the real story. He does that in everybody's life for real. Like if you're following God, oh my gosh, I could tell you stories about how people I don't even know have tried to like hate me and show me so much harm. And God just always flips it over every time. I can't even tell you. And it's like they can't do anything about it because they're not walking with God. They're doing evil stuff. So it's always going to go right back on them. There's so many proverbs and things about that. The evil people digging ditches for themselves and bringing upon themselves their own iniquity and their own evil, their own wickedness. It's just a reality. This is the reality of life, whether you believe in God or not. I just happen to believe in God, so I can see it for what it is. And if you believe in Him, you'll just put this into practice, okay? Start reading the promises of God. If you're following and you're abiding in God and you're reading His Word and you're listening to His practice, there ain't nothing that no other human being that ain't following Him and gonna do. And that goes for the ones that practice some sort of witchcraft stuff. That junk is weak in comparison to God, the creator of the universe, versus no God. So it's funny. I want you guys to really pay attention to the last few chapters of this book of Genesis, because it really just shows God really working in somebody's life that people wanted to hurt, that people wanted to do wrong. And this person wasn't doing anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. He was spoiled. But he was just a kid. So I want you guys to pay attention to this person, Joseph. He is probably my favorite person aside from Enoch. But he's my favorite person in this whole book, in the entire Torah, and the entire Bible, New and Old Testament. Joseph is the bee's knees for me, guys. And I guess that's probably why I'm rambling on so far about this chapter, is because Joseph is like... he is like the epitome of a really cool man, you know, like to me, he is cool. Yeah, he got a little hype, you know, at 17 about his dreams. So what? What 17-year-old doesn't get hype about things, you know, and he's getting hype about God. So Joseph is like ideal man for me. For real. Like, honestly, like if I could, that would be my dream guy, is a man like Joseph. Okay, that dude. And you're going to see why in these further chapters. He really is a man of God, really, really walking with God, really trusting God through some of the hardest things, you know, of his hardest seasons of his life. And God just see what God does for this person, even though there's so many people hating on him for no reason. And that's something you guys should know too. If you're walking with God, you're really abiding in Him, you're reading His Word, you know, you're praying, you're talking, like you have an actual relationship with Him, and you're learning His ways, you're understanding His promises and whatnot. And you really should start, like, read a verse a day or something, you know, start understanding His promises so that you can speak them, believe them, really, like, let those promises reign and resonate in your heart and soul. Because when you're walking blameless and you're really walking with God and you're trying to be a decent person in this world, when people try to hate on you, they will never win. Even if it seems like they kind of got you there for a second, they didn't get you. I promise. Just wait and see what God does in return. Because He never, ever leaves His children. He never lets His children be forsaken. And if there's somebody who ain't walking with God trying to cause you harm, especially people you don't even know, and that happens here in this story with Joseph, you guys should know. God sees it all, man. He always comes back for that vengeance, man. Just wait and see. And I can vouch for that. I keep saying that, but it's true, because I'm still growing with God every day. I don't think that ever ends. But there's certain things that I've learned, especially like over the last few years of my life. I can't even count how many, but it's been a good number of years that God has just taught me and shown me so many things just about like how He works. And I don't really doubt like how I used to, where I'm like, well, I don't see it happening right now. And there was some previous chapter where I said that, where I understand, where you're hoping and you're believing in God. And you're like, I don't see it. Where is this promise? Hang on there, okay? And I should share a sermon somewhere in there where you guys can actually watch it on the... It's something about not pleading the blood, even though that works, but it's about like the fire, Holy Ghost fire, y'all. Like when you're praying and when you're really, really connected with God, you're, especially if you're fasting and praying, like really, really getting down in there with God, you know, really getting... just closing off the rest of the world and really getting with God. Like there's just so, my goodness, like if you have God, ain't nothing gonna touch you, even if it looks like, oh, something bad just happened. No. Just wait and see. Keep believing in God, because he's about to use that person, because there's free will. You should know everybody's got free will. You can do good or evil with your free will. There will be a consequence, and there will also be an ultimate consequence at the end of your life as well. Everybody in this that's ever lived on this planet has a book after your name. My book. I have a book, You have a book. And everything that you've ever done in that book, even in your heart, is in there. God got it in there. The only way he's going to blot that out is if you're walking with him and have a relationship with him and you're repenting and asking for forgiveness. He said he'll forget it if you do that. And he'll know if you mean it or not, because he made you. He made this whole thing. He's in charge of everything to do with this place. So he'll know if you're just playing a game and going, okay, forgive me. And then you go back and start doing all that crap that you were doing before. He's going to know. He's going to know. He knows already what you're going to do at the end of your life. And you're not even there yet. He knows the whole story already. So he'll know if you're sincere or not. He knows what's going on in your head and your heart right now. He knows what everybody's thinking right now. So if you're thinking hateful thoughts, he knows that. He knows that. He's writing that down. So be careful, y'all. And I'm sorry, I got a lot of enthusiasm because I love the story of Joseph. Like, it's just one of the best stories in the Bible. That guy really shows you how to live. We hear of other people like Noah or Enoch. Job is another one too that's gone through some, trials, really. But Joseph is like, it really shows, like Joseph really shows you how to handle a lot of situations, It shows you through a nice chunk of years of his life, the trials and tribulation he go through, and how he still stays by God, and how God sees that and opens doors and rewards that, guys. Like, when I say that if you're walking with God, and I'm urging you guys, that's what this Bible reading and stuff is all about, to help you understand who God really is. He's not some genie in a bottle. He's not some mythical thing, or, this book was written by men. Yeah, but these are men who were influenced by the Spirit of God. And the reason I know this to be true is because I know God too personally. There's a lot of us that know him personally. Like, he speaks to us. He walks with us. When I don't know how to make it clear to you, if you don't have that kind of relationship with your Creator, you're just out here. You're just out here in these streets, y'all. And you don't even know what you're doing, especially if you're doing wrong and you're having to hide your life and you're not living right, If you're lying and you're cheating and you're causing destruction, if you're full of hate toward anybody, let alone strangers, if you just got hate toward anyone, you're not something wrong with you. I'm saying this to convict y'all, if there's any of y'all out here. Because also, if you're walking with God and you're not forgiving people too, you have to forgive, or God isn't even going to hear your prayers. He's going to turn a blind eye to that stuff you say, because he's forgiving you all the time, and you're not going to forgive so-and-so for this such and such thing. I got to tell you, I've forgiven people, even people I don't know, for some of the most disturbing actions I've ever seen. And just because I forgive them doesn't mean that I like them or that I want anything to do with them. That there's a difference between forgiving people and letting them continue with whatever that they wronged you. I don't accept any of that stuff ever. It's not okay. And me forgiving it doesn't make it okay. God's still going to get the vengeance, if that person doesn't make their part right, or, repent. God's still going to come for them. But I'm trying to clear my slate. I don't have any hate toward anybody. I don't care if somebody wants me to hate them. I'm not going to hate you, because naturally I don't feel that. And also, I need myself some God. Okay, I need my relationship with God to remain intact. I need God to be able to communicate to him. So I don't mess with none of that. This is all to say, guys, just really, these last few chapters are really, really good in understanding how to have a relationship with God no matter what, and understanding so much more about how God works. And this is just the first book of this whole thing, You can understand how he works really well, and you can actually figure out how to develop you. He'll help you too. If you start praying to God and you start asking God, please, I want to understand you more. I want to understand what this stuff is all about more. I want to be, a better person. I want to know you. Can you reveal yourself? God will do that. if you really mean it. He's not going to do it if you're just mocking it and playing a game. Or if you just go back on your word. He's not really going to honor that stuff. But he's so forgiving and like merciful and stuff. He'll give you so many chances, like up until you die. Every single day that he gives you to wake up, because tomorrow isn't promised, the next moment isn't promised. At any moment, if God wants, you can drop dead, guys, at any moment if he wants. He's the one that gives you life in every moment that you're breathing in air. He's the one that gives you that, not you. You don't give yourself that. That's insane to think that you're doing that yourself. So use this time wisely, that he's got you here for a reason. And I hope the reason that you're here with your free will isn't to do evil and just care about yourself. That's crazy, because there's a reward for that, and it's not going to be good at the end of your life. There's more to life than money and power or status or looking a certain way to people. There's so much more to life than things like that. It just is. People need to learn to humble themselves. I know I have, and I'm still working on areas of my life where I'm humbling myself. But people really need to humble themselves, really. Like, the way these people acted in this chapter is absurd. But there are people who actually do this stuff every day in real life. Real life. People actually hate this hard on people. People actually want to do other people harm over jealousy or just some weird mindless hatred stuff that's like demonic. It's just not even mature. This is real stuff. People out there causing other people harm over some ideas in their own head that probably aren't even real. So, I don't know. I say all this to say, just, guys, stay tuned. I am so excited about reading the rest of this book of Genesis, because it's God's just shining all through it. And my boy Joseph, my boy, okay? He's just one of the best. To me, he's one of my favorite in this whole written word. He is the epitome to me of a really good man. A really good man of God. My dude made some good choices, even though a lot of stones were thrown at him, man. And a lot was taken from him, and he was deeply hurt, deeply heartbroken because of how people treated him, and he didn't deserve it. My dude, he rose above that with God, and God had his back. So just let's get into that tomorrow. We're going to read chapter 38. I'm so excited about it because I'm going to be reading about my boy. He's great, man. If I were to have like a real husband, not a husband that's like in whatever, if I were to have a real husband, I'm just going to put it that way, it would be a man like this. Just very mature and responsible and really in tune with his creator. So, he's not out there hating anybody. He's out there trying to do what's right to everybody. He's fair to everyone. It doesn't matter if it's people who even wronged him. He's fair to everybody, and you're going to see that. I just love it, because that's just a stand-up human being. Anyway, I pray this message really reached you. I pray that you got something out of this. I'm sorry I rambled on. I'm just excited, because this is probably my favorite part of the whole Bible. Well, one of them, for sure. It's up there. It's like top 3 for sure. And I just pray that this reached you in some special way and you gathered something out of this. I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just reading the words of God, and I am trying my best to live by these words because it's true. Everything in this book is true. It's real. I don't know how else to tell you. God is real. If you're curious and you're just here, thinking that somebody's reading a book, no, we're in this book. If you read through it, you'll find you're in here. That's how crazy this story is. It's like that movie, The Never-Ending Story, with a little boy. I forgot his name. Is Bastian, I guess. He's reading the book, and then they end up kind of calling him out, getting metaphysical or breaking the fourth wall, going, he's reading, he's watching us right now. This Bible is literally like that. And the only way you're going to realize that, there's a reason why this is the #1 book in all the world of all time. The only way you're going to realize that is if you actually get curious and get involved and read it for yourself and find God on your own, and find your own relationship with him. He's right here. His presence is all through this world. That's what gives us this calm, and what makes us know that, gives us this calm that the world's going to keep on turning and the clouds are going to keep on moving and everything's going to stay in its balance. That's the presence of God. It has nothing to do with, and people take that for granted. Keep that in mind. Like, people don't really think about the blue color of the sky and the puffiness of the clouds, or the beauty of the rain, and the function it actually gives the earth. Like, people take so much for granted, even the air, each breath that we breathe, each time we inhale and exhale. Like, these are gifts, y'all, because it can be taken at any moment, and you got to be ready at any moment that your time is up, because God can decide that you're not going to wake up. God can decide when you get in your car and drive that you're not going to make it back. It's God to determine how this is all going to go for you. So don't take it for granted, because once it's done and over with, you won't have any excuse. He'll open that book of yours and he'll start reading through it about all the stuff you did. So be careful out there, guys. This is not really necessarily for me to say this for you to fear God, although you should fear him. He's the creator of all this, and he's the one that keeps it in balance. You should fear him. You should really respect him, not just fear him, because he's still keeping peace in this world despite, some of the ugly choices that we're making. And I include myself in that. I'm not perfect. I made some really bad choices in life too. But at this point, I'm like, I don't want to live like how I used to live in the world. I want to be with God. Like, I want to live the ways of God, because with the ways of God, I know I'm going to be okay. So, I don't know. I'm going to leave it there. And I hope this was able to convict and reach whoever it was meant to reach. And I'm praying for everybody who attends or watches or reads along, that it does bless you in the way that it's meant to. He has me here reading these things for you guys for a reason. So take it with it what you will, and God bless you, and God help you, help us all, because we live in such interesting times, don't we? Anyway, you guys be blessed, and I'll see you in chapter 38 with more Joseph, because come on, you want to know what happens to him, right? Now that he's a slave for Potiphar in Egypt, what's going to happen to him after that, after his brothers did him dirty? Anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Be blessed. Bye.